Good morning and welcome to the Saturday special of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Today we find that robots, artificial intelligence, rather augmented intelligence, automation, is no longer the stuff of the science fiction movies. There is overwhelming evidence that there is a shift in the workforce and that new workforce is needed already. And we are seeing, witnessing that the schools are not teaching what ought to be taught. And as I said, the demand for the new disciplines is likely to grow further. I look around me and the world leaders from the industry, from the government, debate the future of the work and the changes brought by the technology and automation. And despite this, the world is not reacting fast enough to update the system of education. Now, what is education for? Education has two roles. One is to develop the personality of the individual, to draw out his hidden qualities, capabilities, so that they blossom forth in full bloom. That is as far as the organic need of the man is concerned. And when I say man, I mean women, the whole world. But then there's another thing. Education also has to be geared to the work needs. The people have to work and they need to be properly educated for that. So for the first part, liberal arts, humanities, plastic arts, they are important. But what about the earning part? There was an analysis of 750 occupations by McKinsey's Global Institute. And 51% of the jobs are highly susceptible to automation. And that they are currently adapting to the technology. And these jobs span across the industries, span all wage levels, all skill levels. And if the people are not geared to the needs of the new industry that is coming up, naturally they will not be employed. Naturally they'll be replaced or complemented by the robots. But are we preparing our children for the future generations to thrive in the changing landscape? A student that begins the primary school today will graduate from the university in the mid-30s, and their careers will go beyond 2060. While we cannot predict exactly what the workforce will need in the middle of the century, though the indications up to 70% are there, we know that they are changing. We know that the change is exponential. But you visit our schools today, you see the teachers in the school teaching exactly the same subjects as they were taught maybe 30 years back. Reading, writing, math, science, history, and possibly foreign language. Debate on the future of education centers on changing technology in the classroom. And there is no debate on that. We are debating the subject even, but not what we teach. And until you can change what you are teaching, all education will remain meaningless. Any discussion of the future of work has to go hand in hand with a discussion on the future of curriculum. Now, what do we need? We need problem-solving capabilities. We need creative thinking. We need digital skills. We need collaboration. And do we teach any of these subjects in the school? The response would be a resounding no. And why? The schools teach digital skills. They say how to use technology. And what is that digital skills they teach? How to create a document, how to create a presentation, rather than how to create technology. We need the students to learn how to forecast the technology, how to create the technology, and then how to use it. Technology is not something static. It's dynamic and changing every second. And the basis for that development would be critical analysis, critical thinking, digital skills, problem-solving capabilities, and they are not being taught. Then the world is becoming more and more multilateral, and it's becoming multicultural. Are we ensuring the proper communication systems? No. We need to develop communication abilities that overcome all the barriers of cultures, color, caste. We are concerned more with being politically correct. Remove this word from the dictionary. Stop singing this song. I was shocked just yesterday that CBC, CNN, and about 30 TV stations have banned a song, Baby Come Out of the Cold. And it used to be a staple song of all the Christmas festivities. Simply because of the use of the word baby, they don't want it. So the schools are failing, basically. So what's the challenge today? The challenge that is facing all of us is redefining a foundational education that can keep up with the evolution of skills requiring to solve problems, then to innovate and succeed. Innovation is a key word, and along with that innovation, what I said earlier, problem solving and creative thinking. All that is the basic, the sine qua non of good education, and we are failing in all that. The challenge we are aware, but then we are not facing it. To prepare all students with a creative, collaborative, and digital problem-solving skills, schools must teach computer science as a part of the core curriculum. And computer science should not be perceived just as coding. It's about computational thinking. It's about interface design. It's about data analysis. It's about machine learning. It's about cybersecurity. It's about robotics. It's about informatics. And are we teaching a single one of these subjects in our schools? Again, if I look at the educationists and the policymakers, when I ask this question, their faces are blank as the blackboards in the classrooms before the beginning of the day. Learning computer science should not be telling them how to use a keyboard, how to enter their data, but to encourage creativity, problem solving, and then ethics and collaboration. Skills which are not just much more important, and they are being ignored. And they're important in all the careers and all the communities over the world, in all the economies. What's more is the study of how students felt about their classes. And the study shows that people want it. They like to learn these subjects. I was referring to that global study which said 51% change is there, but the change in education system is zero, zilch. So what we have got to do is that we have got to remove those aspects of the curriculum we are teaching today in 1980 and make room for the curriculum of 2018. We are still teaching 1980. And now we are going in 2019. We are not teaching that, so we need a new curriculum for 2019. Computer science should not be relegated to after-school clubs, robotics contests, or hackathons. It shouldn't be accessible only at a premium, but taught as a part of the primary and secondary schools. Our school should teach the curriculum of the future. We are teaching the curriculum of the past. As for the past is concerned, history is sufficient for that. Teaching of the history, teaching of the literature, covering all that, teaching of the cultures is a study of the past. But to progress and be technologically ahead, we need the curriculum of the future. And some countries have started doing it. In the USA, 44 states have changed their policies to recognize computer science as a part of the academic course, but only as a computer science again, as a data analysis, as data feeding. What is more is that 25 countries, and none of them is a major economy, Malaysia, Italy, Ecuador, Argentina, South Korea, Japan, barring the last two, these countries have said that every education system should have a different approach. And the leading in that is Malaysia, Sweden, and Thailand. They said, no, we are going to teach innovation. As a matter of fact, about 20 years back, I was asked by APCTT, Asia Pacific Center for Technology Transfer, that is a part of the United Nations, and we prepared a curriculum for the Tokyo US University. Forecasting and evaluation of technology. So that course was taught and 30 students were admitted, and would you believe that all 30 got a job within 3 months of their graduation, as a matter of fact, even before the graduation. But why can't that be replicated everywhere? I agree that teaching these subjects might sound very intimidating, but it's an idea that needs to be germinated, because the germination of this idea would have hope for the new workforce. And if we don't have that, then we should be prepared for calamitous fall in employment. We have got to inspire the teachers and engage the students. And nothing is being done. The majority of the world's teachers don't have experience in these aspects, so they need to be trained. And once we have the trainers who train these teachers, and then these teachers teach the new curriculum, I'll call it the futuristic curriculum, because future is already here, and any delay can be suicidal. And I've seen teachers don't have experience in the computer sciences, and the word school lack connectivity. The computers, if they are there, they are not connected. And these are the problems that can be easily solved. Again, I am impressed by what's being done in Nigeria, Chile, and Brazil. They have geared up to tackle these challenges. And I think for once, people would, in the advanced countries, so-called developed countries, would have to follow the example being set up by Ecuador, by Argentina, by Chile, by Nigeria. And those countries we consider to be backward. As a matter of fact, they are much more forward-looking and forward-thinking. The future of the work may be uncertain. That's quite possible. But one thing is absolutely clear, crystal clear, that the computational sciences, that robotics, that informatics, that augmented intelligence are going to be in a much greater demand than ever before. And every student in every school should have an opportunity to learn these sciences, should be exposed to critical thinking. The critical mass that is available as a result of the critical thinking of the people in the research labs should be transcreated for the schools, which we are not doing. The gap between the primary schools and the university is too large, too huge. And that has got to be changed. And the students have the capability to learn it. They have the desire to learn it. What is lacking is a vision at the level of the policy makers. And that's where we are failing. We need to change our perspective. We need to think in a new manner and implement the changes right away. Any delay can be harmful and have deleterious effects on the people as a whole and students in particular. And the future generations would suffer because of this myopia that afflicts our leaders and policy makers. Thank you.